guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hello, hi, my name is Jyotsna and welcome to Jyotsna's Bookscapades, where I basically make videos on the books that I read and on book recommendations as well. And this video is going to be a bit of a different and unique video from my other videos because this is like a chatty video. Okay, so this is something where you do not need to watch me when you're playing the video. If you have like headphones on, earphones on, you can keep your phone like anywhere and listen to me, because this is just a video where I'm just talking. And I wanted to discuss this situation which is called the reading slump. Most of the videos that I've seen online, they just get into the reading slump and just tell you what you can do in order to get over it. And I didn't want this to be a video like that, and that's because I have been through a reading slump myself. It was a huge month-long reading slump for me, which happened in the month of February because of the loss of some dear one in my life. And I've come to this realization that reading slumps can happen because of any reason, anytime, and it can hit you from nowhere. So I just wanted to take some time out, kind of meditate on this topic myself, and I came up with a few, I would say, points, journal entries that I can discuss about in this video. So like I said, you don't need to keep staring at me. I mean, if you are, thank you. I know I have a pretty face, but you can just listen to me and do your own thing while I'm just like going on this. It's not a rant, it's like a discussion. So please be free to post your thoughts in the comment section below. So the first thing I do want to start out with is the psychology of a reading slump, right? Because many times reading slumps happen for various reasons, or it can happen for no reason at all. And when I was thinking about this, like, why do we get into a reading slump? Like, suddenly you're reading many books at one time, and then suddenly you just feel like you don't want to pick them up anymore. And here are a few things that I could narrow down, because I kind of understand why people get into reading slumps now, considering that I have been through quite a few, and my last one being like the longest, like a month of no reading, to be honest. The thing that the points that I got out of that whole process of thinking was, the first thing being that you get into a reading slump when your mind is overwhelmed. Okay, now it can be overwhelmed with data that you've received in the past, and this data can be via work, it can be via a lot of other things as well. It can be some kind of a mental health issue, it can be grief, it can be something that has happened in your life, like maybe a fight with someone, maybe an inconvenience that's happened in your life, like a health problem or something. And because of that, your brain is like too busy to make you read. It's when your subconscious mind decides that it cannot take another thing anymore, like it cannot take like an add-on thing. That's when it decides to let go of the luxurious part of life. And when I mean luxurious, it's like reading is a privilege, right? You get to read means you're educated, you're privileged, and the brain tells you, okay, fine, I cannot like do this anymore. You need to give this up for a short period of time. A reading slump can hit you anytime, anywhere, anyhow. There is no time for it. Like, it's like you're getting hit by all these minor inconveniences in life. And for me, in my head, from what I understand, that's because it's that on a daily basis, you're not only reading, you're doing a lot of other things in your life as well. You're going to school, you're going to college, you're going to work, and all of those things have an impact on your mental well-being, and all of those things impact the way you live. So when it comes to things like extracurricular activities, they eventually get affected because of quite a few interferences. And another example, so I have an example here, because something that I can tell you is, if you're someone who plays a sport, or if you're someone who goes to the gym, and if you love playing the sport or going to the gym, or if you love that physical activity, if you have some kind of physical hindrance, if you have some kind of prior commitments on that particular day, then you're not going to show up, right? You are not going to you're going to take a break, considering you have some maybe pain in the back and you need to like seek professional help, or therapy for the physical pain that you have. So that's how I see a reading slump as. It's like a place of recuperation from all the data and the reading you've done. And once you kind of collected yourself from that particular space, then you can go ahead and give yourself that time to read. So another popular argument I do want to add here when it comes to this section, which is called the psychology of a reading slump, is this that many people think that they're reading to escape. They're reading to escape the world or something. If they cannot do that, then they just feel like there is no meaning left in your life. But when you are escaping into another world, it still takes effort. Your brain still needs that kind of time to process the fact that, yes, you exist and you need to move to another world, and your brain's actually like doing a lot of stuff when you're reading. So it's at that point when it gets overwhelmed that it tells you like, let's just drop this for now and let's not do it for a while. But eventually your brain does recuperate from that whole situation and it comes back from it. Now that we've explored the psychology of a reading slump, what I want you to do is write down your thoughts down in the description box for me. And I would like to have a discussion on this, right? Because this is what I've observed, this is what I think it is. But if you have any opposing thoughts or thoughts that second my thoughts, then please give it in the description box below. But meanwhile, I want to now start listing things that you can do in small proportions, in small portions, in order to get your reading life back. Imagine this scenario, right? You are in a very heavy reading slump. You've not read anything since 1 or 2 weeks now, and you are struggling to get back to it. What you can do at this day, at this moment, is just get up and get out of your house. And when I mean get up and get out of your house, I literally mean go for a walk. And it's a very known fact that when you are kind of enclosed within four walls, when you have not received fresh air in a long time, and even if you've received fresh air, you've not appreciated it, your mental capacity to do things deteriorates. This walk can be anywhere in your locality, in your society, in any place that you want. You can also go to the gym if you want. You can also play a sport if you want. But including any form of physical activity in your routine helps your brain refresh easily. That kind of physical activity that you actually do, that means you need more oxygen to breathe because you're like heaving after the activity, like be it going to the gym or whatever, you're sweating a lot. It just improves the circulation in your body, and then your brain just feels refreshed. And believe me, it does work. Okay, like I said, it's just a matter of a simple walk. Even if you like walk for 500 meters, 1 kilometer, it's just that half of the effort is just showing up. Like when you show up for the activity, you're eventually going to do it, and you're eventually going to go ahead and do the activity, and after that you're going to feel refreshed. Now a bonus tip is that of course you need to start walking in order to inculcate this. So you walk like one day, you walk the second day, and when the third day when you go to work, maybe try to add like a very short audiobook, maybe a poetry audiobook, or maybe it's like a short story audiobook on your walk. Okay, so it's like you're walking and you're listening to a book, and it feels like you're doing something more productive because you're already walking and you're already reading or listening to a book. But this is just like a bonus point, because first you need to get into the habit of actually going for a walk. You need to actually get into a habit of having some form of physical activity, and then only should you add the audiobook. But I think this will help if you've already acquainted with some form of physical activity. After you've like been for a walk for a couple of days now, is actually pick up a short story book. Okay, so now there are two options here, and these are like my two favorite options. My first favorite option is of course picking up a short story book, because short stories are like short stories in a book, as you know. You read one story and that's enough, like that's enough for the day. So what happens during a reading slump is that because of your brain is overwhelmed, you have like short spans of time to dedicate to something, and then the brain just like switches suddenly. So in that short span of time when you're feeling focused and attentive, reading one short story of like 5 to 10 pages really helps a lot. And another thing that you can do during this time is also reread your favorite book. And to be honest, this does not need to be like a legit book that's been published in this world. It can be any book. Like if you want to read a Wattpad book, please feel free to do that. If you want to read like a book which a friend's written and it's not published yet, please feel free to do that, because you should feel more productive than you feel already. Because when you're in a reading slump, you're already like, okay, fine. Like, am I really like going to read ever, or am I ever going to get the bandwidth to read ever? So, these thoughts, when they run in your head, when you add some small portion of reading to your day, it makes you feel good. And if reading is something that you're not able to do, then please watch a documentary, please watch a TV series. And the reason why I'm telling you, like, watch something, because I generally don't tell people on this channel to watch, I tell people to read. You get a change of scene, and watching something takes less effort as compared to reading something. Catch up on the TV series that you've always wanted to watch, catch up on the documentaries that you wanted to watch. Generally, like, so when I was in my February reading slump, I caught up on couple of documentaries that I had in my radar, because I don't watch much TV series. I enjoy watching a lot of documentaries. So this is very subjective, like from person to person, but for someone who does not like watch a lot of things, watching documentaries really helps me feel productive, because I feel like I've gained some knowledge from that particular hour of the documentary. So yeah, I mean, if you cannot read anything, if you're not at a stage where you're able to read anything, then the next thing to do is watch something. And all of that being said, I think one of the most important things to understand when it comes to a reading slump is that it will go away. It's not here to stay, right? You need to give yourself that 2 to 3 weeks of time to recuperate with the entire situation, to underwhelm your brain a bit, and to feel like I can do this, I can do that. Like, there are a lot of alternatives that you can do, because reading is not the only important thing at the end of the day, right? Like I said, it takes time. You have to give yourself time to get out of it. And when you understand the root cause of the particular situation, it helps even more. But if you are not able to understand the root cause of your reading slump, then it helps to kind of understand that yes, your brain is overwhelmed and you want something light, and you want to like just give up reading for a while, which is totally okay. So the key here is to give yourself time, and if it is something that's bothering you very much and you know the root cause is pretty serious, then also seek professional help, because that's more important than reading, than doing everything. Like, your mental health is everything, your physical health is everything, and if you do not have health, you're not going to be able to read. Okay, you need to have like a permutation combination of all of the things I just said in order to like apply it. Now the internet will give you 101 tips. I am giving you some suggestions, I am telling you some things as well, but you don't need to follow all of these by the book, right? The thing is, you can try them for like a couple of days, and if it does not work out, then move on to the next step. What I'm going to do in the next section is kind of give you a suggested schedule that you can use in order to deal with your next reading slump in a more effective manner. This is the section where I'm trying to build a schedule so that you can get into like solving or helping your reading slump in some way or the other, right? So this is what happens at the start of the reading slump. You pick up a book, you try to read it, you realize nothing's going inside your head, you drop it down and you say, I don't want to read anymore, I'm like just too tired, and that's okay. And you kind of let it sink in for like couple of days. Now this kind of situation is very again subjective, person to person it can vary, but generally in 2 to 5 days you understand that you are in a reading slump. And on the 5th day, when you realize you're in a reading slump, you kind of get into a panic, like, oh my god, I'm in a reading slump. And this is what I want you to do. I want you to stop panicking at that time itself. What I want you to do is take a pen, take a notebook or a paper, whatever, and write what you're feeling at that point of time. Because generally when you're panicking, and since you've already covered like 2 to 5 days through a reading slump, there are a lot of thoughts in your head that need to go on paper. And it's when you write these thoughts that you kind of understand the psychology of your reading slump, the root cause of your reading slump. So once you've identified the root cause, now it's not necessary that you will get a root cause. Like 80% of the times you can pinpoint things, 20% no, you cannot pinpoint things. So what I want you to do when you are in the 20% or 80% is think how you want to go ahead. Like, do you want to like just stop reading for a while and then get back to it? Because eventually you will get out of the reading slump and eventually you'll get back to reading, right? Or if you want to like kind of add mini steps in your routine so that you can feel like you're being productive and you can get back to reading soon. So if you chose the latter, that is you want to like follow some mini steps, the first thing of course is get a physical activity done, and this includes playing a sport, going to the gym, or taking like a walk. Like you just need to go out, you just need to take a walk. And when you're walking, I don't want you to think about anything, oh my god, like is this helping me or what. Like I just want you to walk and stay in the moment and be mindful. Like just keep walking. And once you walk like about 500 meters to 800 meters, then think whether you want to walk further. At 800 meters, just stand and think whether you want to continue further. Chances are you would want to continue further and you want to walk maybe like 1 kilometer, and then when you reach 1 kilometer, maybe you want to walk 1.2 kilometer. And based on the time limit that you've given yourself when it comes to this particular walk, you just walk and then you come home. Try to do this on a daily basis or an alternative day basis. Now you cannot like do this every day, like every alternate day maybe you can try to do this. But next time when you go for a walk, try to pick out like a very small book, like a very small poetry book on audio. You can pick out some book on YouTube on audio, and when you start walking, just listen to it. And if it's not working out, it's okay, you can drop the idea altogether and just keep walking. Honestly, considering that you have gone out for a walk 2 days already, that is, I think it's time you pick out like a short story book or your favorite story to reread and try to read it. And if your brain is not kind of getting into it, then just drop it, like drop it right away and come back the next day after your walk and try it again. Now, don't rush yourself into this process, because it's very important that you have like a fresh brain in order to adapt this process on the whole. Otherwise, you'll end up hating it, to be honest. Just give yourself time on that particular aspect. If none of these are working, maybe on the third day of walk, after the walk, you realize that, oh, I'm not able to read anything, then it's time that you start watching a documentary or a TV series. Started watching something, like maybe, give it like a week or so. Or if you're reading something, maybe give it a week or so. And give yourself that kind of time. Give yourself that kind of leeway. But don't stop the walking here. Don't stop the, physical activity. Like still go for like, playing a sport. Still please run around. Still please do all of those things that you need to keep your brain fresh. And finally, like I think this particular activity will take you like a week to finish. And when you finish a week, that's when you try to get back to reading. Like that's when you actually attempt to get back to reading. And this can be any way, because for example, if you watched a TV series already and you feel like, okay, like I watched a TV series, I feel like watching more, you can do that. But then try reading the short story book that I mentioned that you dropped earlier. Try reading something that will help you get back into reading in like many steps. Again, don't force yourself. These are just like steps that you take, one day at a time. The outcome may be negative or the outcome may be positive. Maybe you will not get back to reading. Maybe you will need more time. Or maybe you'll like jump right into reading and it'll help you a lot. But it's important to realize that you cannot do things when you have like a filled up brain. You cannot do things that make you feel like you're slogging. and reading is not something that you should slog upon. It's not something that you should not enjoy. You should 100% enjoy it. But the point is, at least you try it. Like, you try to put some kind of efforts into getting out of it, and you put in some efforts to actually do something about it, and it didn't work out. It's okay, it didn't work out. So again, it's important to go back to the root of your reading slump. Like, why do you think the reading slump happened? And maybe, like, go ahead and fix that. Maybe it's long working hours, maybe it's exams. If it's exams, then you know that you're going to come back after the exams and read for sure. Reading, although it's like one of our favorite hobbies, or maybe it's like our entire life, there are days that you need a break from it. There are days you need to step back and think about what are you reading and how are you reading and things like that. And every day you get up, you're making that choice to read. So it's important to understand that reading is an activity that affects your mental health in some way or the other. Maybe it's for the positive, it's for the negative, because you cry reading books, you feel sad reading books, and at the same time you feel happy reading books as well, and you learn a lot from books. So the fact that reading, it takes effort, like it does take brain power, and if you do not have the brain power to actually read, then you actually skip reading for the day. This is what happens when you overwhelm your brain with other stuff as well, because like I said, reading is not the only thing in our lives. We have other lives as well, and they tend to interfere with our reading life. I'm leaving the video just here. I hope this conversation was helpful in some way or the other. Maybe your perspective to how you look at a reading slump might have changed, might have not changed. You might have liked this video. You might have felt that this video was just too long and it was boring. But I just wanted to put my thoughts out there via this video to help you get through your next reading slump. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in my next one. Bye.